Close your eyes. Let the heavy curtain of the waking world fall away. There is no noise here. There is no urgency. There is only the vast, silent theater of the night sky, stretching out into infinity. We are drifting far above the continent of Tamriel, floating in the cold, clear ether of the Arbus. Below us lies the world, turning slowly in its sleep. But our destination is not the snow-capped throats of the north, nor the fungal forests of the east. We are drifting south, towards the warmth, towards the sands. Look up. Above the horizon, dominating the celestial vault, hang the masters of this story. They are not merely celestial bodies. They are the heartbeat of the world we are about to enter. The moons, the twin lanterns. First, there is Masser, the great moon, Jode. Even from this distance, you can feel its weight. It is a colossal sphere of rusted iron and dried blood, a crimson giant that seems too large for the sky to hold. It hangs low, oppressive and magnificent. If you look closely, through the haze of the atmosphere, you can see the scars on its face. Vast craters, silent valleys of dust, mountain ranges that have not felt the tread of a living foot for eons. It is the corpse of a dead god, preserving the memories of a time before time. It radiates a dull, heavy heat, like the embers of a dying fire. It is the anchor, the constant. And dancing around it, light and sharp as a razor, is Secunda, the lesser moon, Joan. Where Masser is red and sullen, Secunda is silver and screamingly bright. It is the sliver of ice in the dark. It moves with a frantic energy, slicing through the shadow of its larger brother. It is the variable, the trickster, the flash of a blade in a dark alley. Together, they form the lunar lattice, the Khajiit. They are not just lights in the sky to the people of this land. They are the loom upon which souls are woven. Their dance determines fate. Their alignment dictates biology. They are the clock, the calendar, and the Godhead. Now, let your gaze drift downward. Beneath the watchful eyes of the twins, the province of Elsewhere exhales the heat of the day. We are crossing the border into the northern wastes of Anaquina. Here, the land is stripped bare. It is a landscape of dry bone and baked clay. The Badlands stretch out for miles, a labyrinth of canyons and mesas carved by the relentless wind. The sun has beaten this land without mercy for 12 hours. And now, as the moons rise, the rocks begin to click and groan as they cool. Can you hear it? Tick, crack, tick. The sound of the earth settling into the night. The sand here is not soft. It is coarse, sharp, mixed with the dust of ancient ruins. It forms dunes that shift and crawl like slow, sleeping beasts. The wind whips over the crests, carrying a fine mist of grit that tastes of copper and old spice. It is a harsh land, a land of warriors and nomads, where water is more precious than gold. The shadows in the canyons are absolute. Ink-black pools where anything could be hiding. But as we drift further south, the air changes. It becomes heavier, thicker. We are crossing into Palatine. The dryness of the desert gives way to the suffocating embrace of the jungle. The humidity rises up to meet us, a tangible wall of warm, wet air. It smells of rotting vegetation, of blooming orchids, of mud and river water. The silence of the desert is replaced by a cacophony of life. Millions of insects begin their nightly chorus, a rhythmic, throbbing hum that vibrates in your chest. Down here, the moonlight does not strike the ground directly. It filters through the canopy of the Tenmar forest. It is broken into 1,000 shards of silver and red, dappling the fern-covered floor. The giant tropical trees, with roots as thick as houses, stand like silent sentinels. Their leaves drip with condensation. Drip, 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 counting the seconds of the night. This is elsewhere, the land of contrasts, the dry and the wet, the harsh and the sweet, the sugar and the salt. It is a land that breathes. Under the gaze of Joan and Jode, the entire province feels alive, pulsating with a secret magic that the other races of Tamriel have forgotten, or perhaps never knew. The moons are full tonight. The alignment is perfect. The air is charged with potential. Something is waking up in the shadows, something that wears the night like a cloak. Rest your mind on the image of the two moons, the red and the silver, locking into place. The great cosmic tumblers of a lock turning. Open the door. Step into the warm sand. We have arrived. To understand the cat, you must first taste the light. We drift deeper into the Tenmar forest, following the sluggish current of a river that reflects the silver eye of Secunda. Here, the jungle does not merely grow, it suffocates. The air is so thick with moisture that every breath feels like drinking warm water. It is a greenhouse of continental proportions, steaming in the night. And here, rising from the black alluvial mud, stands the cane. Moon sugar, Tenmar's gold. It is not a plant in the way you understand plants. An oak or a pine is made of wood and sap. But the sugar cane is a vessel. The Khajiit say that when the moons are full and the sky is clear, the light does not just illuminate the ground, it liquefies. It becomes heavy. It drips from the lunar spheres like honey from a spoon, filtering down through the atmosphere, catching on the jagged leaves of the jungle and flowing into the reeds. Imagine standing in a field of it. The stalks are twice the height of a man, swaying gently even when there is no wind. If you listen closely, past the chirping of the cicadas, you can hear a low, crystalline hum. It is the sound of the sugar singing to the moon. Reach out your hand in the darkness. Touch the stalk. It is rough, fibrous, but warm to the touch. Break it open. Inside, there is no sap. There is a glowing, viscous nectar. It pulses with a faint, pearlescent rhythm. This is the refined essence of the night. This is the crystallized soul of the gods. For the outsider, for the stiff-necked imperial or the dour Nord, this substance is a poison. They call it a drug. They distill it into skooma, boiling away the divinity to leave only the madness. They see the shaking hands, the dilated eyes, the degradation of the dens in Breville and Riften. They see a curse. But they are trying to consume a god without knowing the prayers. For the Khajiit, the sugar is not a vice. It is the lens through which they view reality. It is the seasoning of existence. It is in the tea they sip at sunrise to welcome the day. It is in the cakes they bake for their weddings. It is rubbed onto the gums of newborns so that the first thing they taste is the sweetness of the ancestors. Consume it. Let a grain of the raw sugar dissolve on your tongue. First, there is the sweetness, cloying, overpowering, sharper than any honey. It shocks the jaw. Then comes the numbness, a gentle wave of tingling static that starts in the lips and spreads down the throat, into the chest, into the fingertips. The heart rate slows. Thump. Pause. Thump. The world begins to change. The edges of objects become fuzzy, vibrating with a halo of indigo light. The shadows of the jungle seem to deepen, revealing shapes that were not there before. The sugar lifts the veil. It tunes the nervous system of the Khajiit to a frequency that other races cannot hear. They call it the sugar tooth, a hunger that is not of the belly, but of the spirit. A Khajiit without sugar is a piano with no strings, a hollow wooden box, capable of shape but incapable of music. With the sugar, they resonate. They vibrate in harmony with the lunar lattice. Look at the harvesters moving through the fields. They are not rushing. Their movements are fluid, almost like a dance. They cut the cane with curved blades that flash in the moonlight. Swish, snap. They do not sweat, they glisten. They are covered in the fine, white dust of the processed crystals, looking like ghosts or spirits made of flour. They are smiling. Not the manic smile of the addict, but the serene, heavy-lidded smile of one who hears a beautiful melody that you cannot. This is the fuel of elsewhere. It is the reason the sands sing. It is the reason the architecture defies gravity. It is the reason they can speak to dragons and bargain with Daedra. They are filled with light. But light, as we know, casts the darkest shadows. And to hold so much light inside a mortal body requires a vessel that can change. A vessel that is not fixed. The sugar prepares the blood. The moons prepare the flesh. We leave the humid fields and enter the village. The architecture here is strange. Stilts made of petrified wood, roofs thatched with woven reeds that overlap like scales. It is open to the air, yet hidden from sight. In the center of a warm, lamp-lit room, there is a cradle. Look inside. A kitten. It is tiny, no larger than the palm of your hand. Its eyes are closed. It mews softly, a sound so fragile it could be broken by a whisper. It looks like a kitten, just a cat, indistinguishable from the pet sleeping at the foot of a bed in High Rock or Skyrim. But appearances in Elsewhere are the greatest deception of all. This creature is not just a cat, it is a question waiting for an answer. And the answer will be given by the sky. This is the mystery of the Khajiit, the lunar lattice. In the lands of men and elves, biology is a cage. An orc is born an orc. He will grow tusks. He will have green skin. He will be strong. A Breton is born a Breton. He will be slight. He will be magical. Their destiny is written in the blood of their parents. It is static. It is boring. But the Khajiit? The Khajiit are fluid. They are water poured into the cup of the moon. The form this kitten will take, whether it will walk on 2 legs or 4, whether it will be no bigger than a house cat or larger than a mammoth, depends entirely on the position of Maser and Secunda at the moment of its birth. Think of the horror and the beauty of it. If Maser is new and Secunda is full, the child will be an Ohmsrot. It will look almost like a man, with smooth skin and elven features, walking tall, wearing armor, perhaps with only a thin tail to betray its heritage. It could pass for a wood elf in the dim light of a tavern. But let the moons shift just a fraction. Let Maser be full and Secunda be full. Now, the child is a Sensharot, a battle cat. It will grow to the size of a horse. It will never speak with a humanoid tongue. It will have paws the size of shields and claws that can tear through plate armor. It will serve as a mount for its brothers. It will be a beast of war. And yet, the Omsrat and the Sencharat are siblings. They came from the same womb. They share the same blood. One sits at a table and drinks tea. The other prowls on all fours and roars at the thunder. Imagine the family dinners and elsewhere. The diversity of shapes gathered around a single fire. The giant Pamar reclining like a sphinx. The tiny Alfiq, who looks exactly like a house cat but possesses the intelligence of a scholar and the magical aptitude of a wizard, perched on a cushion, whispering spells. The humanoid Cathay serving the food. It creates a society that is fundamentally alien to us. How can you have racism when your brother is a tiger and your sister is a wizard cat? How can you judge by appearance when appearance is merely a uniform assigned by the stars? They do not see the body. They see the soul inside the vessel. They see the moon stuff. To a Khajiit, your body is just a suit you wear because the moons told you to. It is temporary. It is functional. But there is a darker side to this lattice, a vulnerability. If their very bodies are tied to the moons, what happens when the moons vanish? What happens when the connection is severed? The void nights. The 2 years when Joan and Jode disappeared from the sky. When the lattice broke. When the Khajiit were born wrong. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Tonight, the moons are bright. The lattice is strong. The kitten in the cradle twitches its ears. It has been born under a waning Maser and a waxing Secunda. It will be a Suthay. Agile, bipedal, a creature of stealth and grace. The Mother Moon has spoken. The shape is set. The clay has hardened. We have spoken of the diversity, of the 17 shapes that walk the sands, of the chaos of biology. But in this chaos, there must be a center, a pin to hold the lattice together. Once in a generation, the sky performs a miracle. Watch Maser and Secunda now. They are not merely orbiting, they are converging. The red giant and the silver sphere slide toward one another in a cosmic embrace. The light dims. The crickets stop their chirping. The wind dies in the canyons. It is an eclipse. But to the Khajiit, this is not an eclipse. This is the revelation of the dark moon, the hidden moon, the ghost moon that exists behind the others. When the moons align like this, a child is born who is unlike any other. They are not Suthay, nor Cathay, nor Senche. They are the main. There can be only one. Imagine the weight of such an existence. He is not merely a king. Kings rule by law and sword. The main rules by the weight of his soul. He is the spiritual anchor for an entire species. He is the avatar of the Riddlethar, the two moons dance. In the old legends, before the Empire sanitized the history books, they said the mane was woven into his people physically. They said that the warriors of his guard would cut their own braids and weave them into the mane's hair. 1,000 locks of hair, 1,000 lifelines, creating a headdress so heavy that the mane could not move without the aid of his palanquin. Picture him sitting upon a throne of gilded wood and silk pillows. He is small, perhaps, but his presence fills the room like incense. He is buried under the golden fur of his subjects. He carries the physical weight of his kingdom on his head. When he speaks, It is not a command. It is a purr that vibrates in the teeth of everyone present. He is the only one who knows the way to the moon. You see, the Khajiit believe that when they die, their souls do not simply vanish, they travel. They must climb the lunar lattice, stepping from one beam of moonlight to the next, ascending to the sands behind the stars. It is a treacherous journey. The dark void is filled with demons, with the Dromothra, the bent cats who dance backwards. The Mane is the guide. He holds the lantern. Without him, the Khajiit are lost in the dark. Without him, the different breeds, the giant tigers and the tiny house cats, would tear each other apart. He is the harmony in the song. Look at the eclipse again. The sun is blocked. A ring of fire hangs in the sky. The world is bathed in a twilight that is neither day nor night. This is the Mane's domain, the threshold, the liminal space. He reminds them that they are not just beasts of burden for the empire, nor savages of the jungle. They are a celestial people. They are star stuff caught in a web of sugar and sand. But even the Mane is mortal. He grows old, his fur turns gray, and when he dies, the search begins again. The sky is watched with desperate eyes, waiting for the darkness to return, waiting for the moons to kiss. As the moons divide the sky, so too does the land divide the people. Elsewhere is not a single nation. It is a marriage of opposites. It is a contradiction stitched together by necessity. To walk its roads is to walk through two different worlds, separated by an invisible line in the sand. Look to the north, to the kingdom of Anaquina. Here, the sun is a hammer. It strikes the earth with a fury that turns rock into dust and water into steam. This is the land of the Badlands, a landscape of ochre and rust. The horizon is broken only by the sharp, jagged teeth of the mesas and the ruins of ancient forts. The Khajiit of the north are hardened by this anvil. They are the Nequinal, the warriors, the traditionalists. They do not have time for the soft luxuries of the south. Their fur is coarser, bleached by the solar glare. They wrap themselves in layered linens to keep the moisture in, moving across the dunes with the silence of vipers. In the city of Rimmon, the architecture is defiant. Thick walls, stone aqueducts. It is a fortress society. Here, honor is the currency. A promise made in Anaquina is written in stone. It is a land of martial discipline, where the Sensurat patrol the borders, their golden armor glinting like sparks in the vast emptiness. But travel south. Cross the scar of the Tenmar. The air changes. The dry heat vanishes, replaced by a heavy, perfumed blanket of humidity. You are entering Palatine. The contrast is shocking. Where the north is empty, the south is overflowing. The jungle devours everything. Vines thick as pythons strangle the stone pillars of the ancestors. The rivers run sluggish and brown, teeming with life. This is the land of the Palatine, the merchants, the sorcerers, the thieves. In the port city of Sensual, the streets are a riot of color and noise. Silk awnings flutter in the sea breeze. The scent of exotic spices, nutmeg, cloves, and the ever-present moon sugar clings to your clothes. Here, gold is the only god. The Khajiit of the south are softer, sleeker. They wear silks and jewelry. They recline on cushions in the shade, playing politics like a game of cards. They are decadent. They are dangerous not with a blade, but with a smile. They will sell you a dream and steal your purse while you are admiring it. Anaquina and Palatine, the sword and the coin, the rock and the river. For centuries they tore at each other's throats. The North despised the South for its softness. The South mocked the North for its barbarism. It was a civil war of brothers, a bloody mirror of the moon's eternal dance. But look at the flag of the Confederacy. 2 moons joined. They realized, in their wisdom, that one cannot survive without the other. The warrior needs the merchant's gold to maintain his armor. The merchant needs the warrior's sword to protect his ships. So they exist in a fragile harmony, an uneasy peace held together by the main. It is a beautiful, broken land, a place where you can die of thirst in the morning and drown in a flood by evening, a place where the most disciplined monk and the most notorious smuggler share the same bowl of sugar. The land shapes the soul, and the soul of elsewhere is split down the middle. History, as they say, is written by the victors. The high elves of Alinor claim they are the direct descendants of the gods, the perfect beings. They look down upon the beast races with pity and disgust. To the Altmer, the Khajiit are a mistake, a degeneration of the ancient elven stock, corrupted by the wilderness, fallen from grace. But the cats know better. The cats know the secret. Sit by the fire of the clan mother. Watch her eyes reflect the embers. Listen to the story of the beginning. Before the world was fixed, everything was chaos. The forest people, the ancestors of both the wood elves and the Khajiit, wandered in a formless soup. They were shapeless, shifting like smoke, torn between the stasis of the earth and the wild energy of the spirit. Then came Azura, the prince of dawn and dusk, the mother of roses. She did not look at them with pity. She looked at them with love. She tricked the other spirits. She tore the fabric of reality just enough to make a pocket of freedom. And she gave the forest people a gift. She bound them to the lunar lattice. She tied their bodies to the tides of the cosmos. "You shall be the secret defenders," she whispered. "You shall be the Varliants. You shall be the light that hides in the shadow." This is the truth that the Empire does not understand. The Khajiit were not created to be thieves. They were not created to sell trinkets. They were created to be the guardians of the gate. Look up at the sky again. See the darkness between the stars? That is not empty space. That is the void. That is the hunger of the great darkness, the Dromothra, the spirits that dance backwards. They want to tear the lattice apart. They want to enter Mundus and unmake creation. The lunar lattice, the Ja Khaje, is not just a biological chart. It is a shield. It is a mystical barrier that protects the world from the void. And the Khajiit are the soldiers of this barrier. When a Khajiit climbs the peaks of the moon path in their dreams, they are not just sleeping. They are patrolling. They are fighting a war that no other race can even see. While the Imperial Legion polices the roads and the Mages Guild studies their books, the Khajiit monks are mentally battling entities of pure negation in the hallways of the moons. It is a lonely duty, to be the saviors of a world that treats you like a pest. But Azura taught them to smile. She taught them that the best place to hide a secret is right in front of everyone's eyes. "Let them think you are simple," she said. "Let them think you are lazy. Let them think you are nothing but rug merchants and sugar addicts. For if they ignore you, they will not interfere with your work." So they wear their masks, they speak in riddles, they act the fool. But watch a Khajiit when they think they are alone. Watch them stare at the dark patch of sky where the third moon, the dead moon, sometimes hides. The playfulness vanishes, the ears flatten, the claws extend. They are listening to the scratching at the door of reality, and they are the only ones holding the key. This is the burden of the chosen: to protect the very people who despise you, to hold the wall against the night, armed only with your faith, your claws, and the sweet, burning magic of the sugar. Hide your purse. The cat is coming. It is the first thing a traveler learns when stepping onto the docks of Tamriel. A warning whispered in taverns from Daggerfall to Mournhold. The Khajiit are thieves. They are swindlers. They are light-fingered tricksters who will steal the boots off your feet while you were walking in them. This is the reputation. And like all reputations, it is a clumsy mask covering a much deeper face. To understand the thief, you must understand the nature of the lock. To a Nord or an Imperial, ownership is a rigid line. This sword is mine because I bought it. This house is mine because I have a deed. They build walls. They forge iron locks. They put things in boxes and say, "This is me, and that is you." They believe that simply existing near an object gives them dominion over it forever. The Khajiit finds this amusing. In the philosophy of the sands, ownership is not a static state. It is an active relationship. The wind does not own the sand it moves. It simply borrows it for a dance. The river does not own the water. It merely guides it to the sea. So it is with gold. So it is with jewels. If you are not holding it, if you are not using it, if you are not watching it, do you really own it? Or are you just hoarding it, preventing the object from fulfilling its destiny? When a Bandari peddler lifts a gemstone from a merchant's velvet pouch, he is not committing a crime in his heart. He is liberating the stone. He is teaching the merchant a valuable spiritual lesson. Attachment leads to suffering. You were not watching, the Khajiit might say. Therefore, you did not need it. I have a need. The universe has corrected the imbalance. It is the right of theft, a cultural logic that dates back to the days when they were nomads following the herds. In the desert, if you hoard water while your brother thirsts, you are the criminal. In the desert, everything must flow. This is why they make such terrible bankers and such excellent smugglers. They believe in the flow. Look at the Bandari, the wandering litter. They are the gypsies of this world, caravans of colorful wagons painted with moons and stars, traveling the endless roads. They sell wares from lands you have never seen. They tell fortunes that are half true and half riddle. They are the masters of the beautiful lie. To a Khajiit, a lie is not necessarily malicious. A lie can be a story. A lie can be a comfort. If I tell you that this rug was woven by the spirits of the ancestors, and it makes you happy, and you pay me a fair price, have I harmed you? Or have I sold you a wonderful feeling? Truth, like ownership, is flexible under the moons. But do not mistake this flexibility for lawlessness. There are rules. Oh, there are very strict rules. You do not steal from your clan. You do not steal from the sickly. You do not break the Rajendar, the code of the Seven Shadows. But the fat merchant from Cyrodiil who counts his coins so loudly that he drowns out the music of the birds, he is fair game. He is begging to be taught a lesson. Watch the hands of the marketplace juggler. 1, 2, 3 balls in the air. Now they are gone. Now they are in your pocket. Now they are gone again. It is magic. It is art. It is a reminder that nothing in this world truly belongs to us. We are all just holding on to things for a little while, until the great thief in the sky comes to claim us all. So, check your pockets. Is your coin still there? Are you sure? Good. Now check your heart. Is it still heavy with greed? Perhaps you need a Khajiit to lighten your load. There is a saying among the imperial legions: if you see a Khajiit smile, check your purse. If you see a Khajiit frown, check your throat. But if you see a Khajiit standing perfectly still, breathing in rhythm with the wind, run. We have spoken of the merchants and the thieves, but we have not spoken of the razor. High in the crags of Anaquina, far from the perfumed courts of the south, live the ascetics, the monks. They do not wear silk. They wear rough linen. They do not seek gold. They seek perfection of form. They are the masters of the Rowlith Kaj, the rain of sand. To the Khajiit, combat is not a clumsy brawl. It is not the hacking of shields and the bashing of helms that the Nords enjoy. It is a dance. It is a mathematical equation of weight, speed, and sharpness. Watch the monk in the center of the courtyard. He is a Cathay Rat, tall, lean, his muscles coiled like steel cables under his fur. He is practicing the form of the Gautfang. He moves slowly at first, fluidly, like water flowing over a stone. His paws trace invisible lines in the air. Inhale, shift weight, exhale, strike. The strike is so fast the eye cannot follow it. A blur of motion, a snap of air, and then stillness again. The Khajiit does not need a sword. Why would he forge cold steel when nature has given him 5 curved daggers on each hand? Why would he wear heavy plate mail when his own reflexes are faster than an arrow? A sword can be dropped. A shield can be broken. But the claw dances, they are written into the muscle memory. They are part of the soul. There are many styles, each mimicking the aspects of the predator. There is the whispering fang, a style so silent, so ghostly, that the opponent is dead before they hear the footsteps. There is the Vatishran, the style of the storyteller, rhythmic and hypnotic, lulling the enemy into a trance before the killing blow. And then there are the battle cats. Imagine the Sinche Rat on the battlefield, a tiger the size of a carriage. He does not dance like the bipedal monks. He is a living avalanche. When he charges, the ground shakes. He crashes into the enemy lines not with technique, but with the raw, terrifying force of a natural disaster. He is a siege engine made of bone and fury. Yet even he fights with a strange grace. Even he is guided by the moons. The Empire tries to ban their weapons. They confiscate bows and blades, but they cannot confiscate the body. They cannot confiscate the Varliants. For the monk, the fight is not about killing the enemy. The enemy is irrelevant. The enemy is just an obstacle to the perfection of the movement. The fight is a meditation. Snick. The sound of claws extending from their sheaths. It is a small sound, a dry, sharp click. But in a quiet alley or a silent monastery, it is the loudest sound in the world. It is the sound of the velvet glove coming off. The monk finishes his form. He bows to the empty air. He retracts his claws. He is peaceful again. He returns to his meditation, a statue of serenity. But the sand around his feet has been disturbed. It has been kicked up in a perfect circle, a rain of sand. A warning to those who think the cat is merely a pet. We have spoken of the light. We have spoken of the sugar. We have spoken of the glorious diversity of the lunar lattice. But you cannot have a lantern without casting a shadow, and the brighter the lantern, the deeper the dark. Deep within the Khajiit soul, buried beneath the layers of joy and sweetness, lies a terrifying vulnerability. Because they are creatures of the spirit, they are susceptible to the diseases of the spirit. They are open, and sometimes something else gets in. Listen to the silence now. It is not the peaceful silence of the desert night. It is the static hiss of a void that is hungry. There is a rhythm that beats in opposition to the moon's, a syncopated, jarring rhythm. Thump, thump, tick, thump. It is the beating heart of Lor-Kaj, the moon beast. It is the whisper of Namira, the great darkness. When a Khajiit loses their way, when they succumb to despair, to hatred, or when they foolishly try to listen to the song of the void, they do not merely fall, they invert. They become the Dro-Mathra, the bent cats. Imagine a Khajiit, but stripped of all warmth. Their fur is no longer the color of sand or earth. It is blacker than the space between stars. And cracking through that blackness, like lightning frozen in obsidian, are lines of glowing electric blue energy. Their eyes do not reflect the light. They burn with a cold, pale fire that consumes. They are the dark reflection. They are the glitch in the reality of elsewhere. They do not walk, they slide. They move with a jerky, unnatural motion, like a puppet whose strings are being pulled by a madman. They perform the bent dance. While the monks of the Whispering Fang dance to create harmony, the Dro-Mathra dance to unravel it. Their movements are wrong. They step backward when they should step forward. They twist when they should turn. Watching them induces a nausea, a vertigo of the soul. It is a dance that tears the seams of the world apart. They are the boogeymen of every kitten's nursery rhyme. Do not stay out too late, or the bent cats will take you to the dark behind the world. But the horror is not that they are monsters. The horror is that they are family. That glowing, shrieking wraith tearing at the village gates, that was once your brother. That was once the baker who made the sweet cakes. That was the mother who sang lullabies. They have been hollowed out and filled with the static of the void. And the contagion is auditory. You can catch the madness just by listening to their song. It is a low, droning hum that bypasses the ears and vibrates directly in the teeth. It urges you to let go. It urges you to stop fighting the current. It urges you to join the dance. To fight them, you cannot use steel. Steel passes through them like smoke. You must use sound. Enter the Twilight Cantors, the exorcists of the dusk. They are the only ones who walk the line without falling. They wear veils to hide their faces, for they have seen too much. They do not carry weapons, they carry instruments. Strange, long-necked lutes and silver bells. They stand before the screaming darkness of the Dro-Mathra, and they sing. They sing the song of return. They sing the counter-melody to the void. They try to weave the broken soul back into the lattice. Sometimes it works. The blue fire fades. The black fur softens. The cat falls to the ground, weeping, remembering nothing but a cold nightmare. But sometimes the song is not enough, and the cantor must sing a sharper note, a note that shatters the spirit completely, sending it back to the stars to be recycled, hoping that the next time, under a different moon, it will be born whole. The Khajiit smile, yes. They laugh, they trade. But look closely at their eyes when the shadows lengthen. They are always watching the corners of the room. They are always listening for the beat of the backwards drum, because they know how thin the wall is. They know how easily the dance can change. Behind the mane, behind the warriors, behind the thieves and the merchants, there is a silence. And in that silence, a voice speaks. It is the voice of the grandmother. To the outsider, elsewhere may seem chaotic, a loose confederation of tribes and city-states, shifting like the dunes. But there is a spine that holds the body upright. There is an iron rod hidden in the velvet, the clan mothers. In the palaces of Cyrodiil, men sit on thrones and write laws on parchment. They believe that power is something you can hold, something you can pass down through a decree. They believe in the written word. The Khajiit laugh at this. Paper burns, ink fades, stone crumbles. The clan mothers know that the only thing that truly lasts is the story. The truth must be breathable. It must be spoken warm, from mouth to ear, carrying the scent of the speaker's tea and the rhythm of their breath. They are the archivists of a people who do not trust libraries. Look at this woman. She sits in the deepest chamber of the clan house. She is small, perhaps frail. She wears no armor. Yet, if a warlord, a massive Sincharat capable of crushing a wagon, enters the room, he lowers his head. He tucks his tail. He trembles. Why? Because she controls the sugar, and she controls the names. It is the clan mothers who refine the sacred moon sugar. They alone know the alchemical rituals to turn the raw cane into the sacraments used for visions. Without them, the connection to the moons is severed. Without them, the Khajiit are blind. And they are the judges of reality. When a mane is born, it is the clan mothers who consult the sky. It is they who verify the alignment. It is they who say, yes, this is the one, or no, this is a pretender. They hold the true history of the world, the history that Azura whispered to them at the dawn. They know why the moons move. They know the secret names of the Daedra. They know that the world is a game, and they know how to cheat at it. But they will not write it down. To write a secret, they say, is to kill it. A dead secret can be stolen by spies. A living secret can only be given. This is why the Empire can never truly conquer elsewhere. They can occupy the cities, they can garrison the forts, but they cannot capture the culture. They cannot interrogate a book that doesn't exist. The culture evaporates like mist and reforms in the shadows of the clan mother's tent. She is the weaver. She pulls the strings of politics, of marriage, of war. She does not shout. She whispers, and her whisper echoes louder than a dragon's roar. If you are a guest in her house, she will feed you sweetmeats. She will pour you tea that smells of nutmeg and old memories. She will tell you a story about a fox and a trap. You will laugh. You will think it is a nursery rhyme. But 10 years later, you will wake up in a cold sweat, realizing that the story was a prophecy and the trap was for you. She smiles, her eyes crinkling. She knows. She always knows. This is the matriarchy of the cat. Soft paws, sharp eyes, and a memory that goes back to the beginning of time. If you ask a priest of Arkay in the West, what is the purpose of life? He will speak of duty. He will speak of suffering and redemption. He will speak of a linear path from birth to death, judged by a stern God. Ask a Khajiit, and they will laugh. Life, they will say, is not a line. It is a dance. This is the essence of the Riddlethar, the two moons dance. Centuries ago, elsewhere was tearing itself apart. The rich merchants of Palatine and the fierce warlords of Anaquina were locked in endless cycles of bloodshed. The sugar was hoarded, the poor starved. The spirits of the people were heavy with grief. Then came the revelation. It was not a commandment thundered from a mountaintop. It was a realization, a cosmic joke whispered by the main. The riddle Thar teaches that the universe is a game. It is a playground created by the spirits for their own amusement and testing. And like any game, it has rules. But the rules are not about good and evil. Those are clumsy, mortal words. The rules are about balance. Imagine a tightrope walker. To his left is the abyss of too much order, stagnation, boredom, stone. To his right is the abyss of too much chaos, madness, destruction, fire. The Khajiit must walk the wire. They call it the sugar rot, to have too much. To be so addicted to pleasure and gold that you lose your soul. They call it the stone heart, to have too little. To be so disciplined and cold that you lose your joy. The riddle Thar is the guide to the middle path. It says, eat the sugar, but do not let the sugar eat you. Steal the coin if you need it, but give the coin away if your brother needs it more. Fight with the fury of the Senshi, but forgive with the gentleness of the Alfiq. It is a forgiving philosophy. It acknowledges that we are flawed. It acknowledges that sometimes we will fall off the wire. The moons wax and wane. They are not always full. So why should a mortal expect to be perfect every day? This is why the Khajiit seems so carefree to the other races. They are not burdened by the crushing guilt of the Nords or the existential dread of the elves. They know that if they stumble today, the phases will change tomorrow. Inside the temples of the Two Moons dance, there are no grim statues of suffering martyrs. There are cushions. There are fountains. There is the smell of roasting meat and sweet incense. The priests do not preach hellfire. They tell riddles. What is the difference between a pebble and a mountain? The priest asks. Time, the student answers. Wrong, says the priest, whacking him with a cane. The difference is that the pebble fits in your shoe and annoys you more. They teach through humor. They break the rigid mind to let the light in. It is a religion of joy. A religion that says the gods want you to be happy, but they also want you to be sharp. They want you to play the game well. So, when you see a Khajiit lounging in the sun, half asleep, do not mistake it for sloth. He is meditating on the riddle. He is balancing his soul between the earth and the sky. He is participating in the great cosmic dance simply by enjoying the warmth on his fur. All stories have their dark chapters. All dances have their sudden, terrifying halts. We have seen the Khajiit thrive under the twin lanterns, their forms shaped by the heavens, their spirits guided by the dance. But what happens when the music stops? What happens when the dancers vanish? There were 2 years, 2 long, agonizing years, when Joan and Jode simply weren't there. Imagine waking up. You look to the sky, and where the comforting crimson and silver spheres should be, there is only a vast, hungry emptiness, an absence, a wound in the fabric of the universe. The moons were gone. For any other race, it would have been an astronomical anomaly, a curious puzzle for the mages. For the Khajiit, it was an existential horror. It was the severing of their very souls. The lunar lattice, the Ja Khaje, broke. Children were born during the void nights, and they were born wrong. Their forms were mutated, twisted. Some were stillborn. Others were born without fur, or with too much fur. Many were simply a formless mass of flesh and bone, mewling, crying out for a light that would never come. They were the raw clay, but the potter had vanished. A generation lost. A generation that could not find its shape. Panic swept elsewhere like a wildfire. The delicate balance between Anaquina and Palatine shattered. Without the guiding light of the moons, without the ritual of the main, society began to unravel. Trade stopped. Raids began. The Dromathra, the bent cats, seemed to grow stronger in the suffocating darkness, their whispers echoing in the minds of the desperate. This was not merely a physical deprivation. It was a spiritual wound. The Khajiit felt their connection to Azura fraying, their path to the sands behind the stars becoming obscured. They were drifting, unmoored in a sea of absolute night. And then, as suddenly as they had vanished, the moons returned. They reappeared, whole and bright in the sky, as if nothing had happened. As if 2 years of terror and despair were just a bad dream. But the trauma lingered. The generation born wrong still walked the earth, a constant reminder of the fragility of their existence. Who brought the moons back? The official narrative, eagerly spread by the newly formed Aldmeri Dominion, was that it was them, the High Elves, the Altmer mages of Somerset, using their immense power and ancient knowledge, had restored the lunar lattice. They had saved the Khajiit, and for their salvation, they demanded a price. Elsewhere, once a proud, independent nation, was forced to join the Aldmeri Dominion. The people who despised the beast folk now claimed to be their saviors. They imposed their laws. They stationed their soldiers. They began to dismantle the ancient traditions, piece by piece, under the guise of protection. It was a cold, calculated conquest, a subtle invasion. The Khajiit know the truth, or at least they have their own theories. Some whisper that the moons were never truly gone, but merely hidden by a powerful magical illusion, a trick played by the Altmer to assert dominance. Others believe it was the Daedric prince Azura herself, testing her children, allowing the crisis to unfold so that the Khajiit would see who their true allies were, and who their false saviors. Regardless of the truth, the scar remains. The memory of the Void Knights burns in the collective consciousness of Elsewhere. They remember the fear. They remember the helplessness. And they remember the cold, manipulative hand of the High Elves reaching out of the darkness to offer a conditional salvation. The Khajiit are a forgiving people, yes, but they do not forget. And in the shadows, they scheme. We have spoken of birth under the moons. We have spoken of the dance of life. But what happens when the music finally fades? What happens when the heart slows its rhythm and the sugar blood runs cold? For a Nord, death is a hall of drinking and fighting. For a Redguard, it is a journey to the far shores. But for the Khajiit, death is the ultimate indulgence. They call it Lesware, the sands behind the stars. It is not a place of judgment in the way humans fear it. There are no scales weighing your sins against a feather. There is only the question, did you walk the path? Did you find your rhythm? When a Khajiit dies, their soul does not immediately vanish. It lingers for a moment, untethered, floating like smoke in the room. This is why the funeral rites are so joyous. The family gathers not to mourn, but to guide. They burn heaps of moon sugar incense, filling the air with a thick, sweet fog. They sing songs of the ancestors. They want the soul to smell home one last time before it begins the climb. And then the ascent begins. the soul steps onto the lunar lattice. The beams of moonlight that crisscross the sky become a physical ladder. Up past the clouds, up past the birds, up into the cold vacuum of the orbis. It is a dangerous journey. We remember the Dromathra, the dark spirits waiting in the void to snatch the unwary traveler. The soul must be quick. It must be light. It must not look down. But if the Khajiit has lived true to the Riddlethar, if they have laughed and fought and loved with an open heart, they will see the light. At the very top of the lattice, past the cratered face of Jode, the sky opens up. And there it is. Imagine a desert, but not the harsh, burning desert of Anaquina. This is a desert where the sand is made of pure, white sugar. Infinite dunes of granulated starlight, soft and warm to the touch. The wind here does not chafe, it caresses. There is no night here. There is only a perpetual golden twilight, the varliance of Azura. In Chesfer, the rivers do not run with water. They run with warm cream and liquid nectar. The trees are heavy with prey that does not run away, but offers itself to the hunter. It is a paradise of sensory perfection. It is said that Azura herself waits at the gate. She greets every soul, from the mightiest mane to the smallest house cat. She strokes their fur. She whispers, "Welcome home, little one. You have walked far." Here the Khajiit are finally free of their forms. The biology that bound them, the Senche, the Alfik, the Ohms, falls away. They become beings of pure light and intention. They can run forever without tiring. They can sleep for a century without guilt. It is the promise that makes the hardship of the mortal world bearable. Why worry about the empire? Why worry about the taxes? Why worry about the cold? In the end, we all return to the sugar. We all return to the mother. It is a beautiful thought to hold on to as you drift off to sleep. The idea that the universe is not indifferent. That at the end of the long, dark road, there is a warm place waiting for you. A place where you are known. A place where you are loved. And a place where the sugar bowl is never empty. We descend from the sugar lands back to the cold, hard reality of Mundus. But we do not return to the warm sands of the south. We find ourselves in the north, in the west, in the heart of the empire. Look at the Khajiit now, here, far from home, huddled around a campfire outside the city gates of Windhelm or Solitude. They seem diminished. They are the outcasts, the catmen. They are not allowed inside the walls. They are looked upon with suspicion by the guards, their wagons searched, their wares sneered at. "Go back to elsewhere," the Nords shout. "Take your skooma with you." The Khajiit does not shout back. He pulls his hood tighter against the biting wind. He warms his paws over the fire, and he smiles. Why? Because he knows something they do not. To the Khajiit, the other races of Tamriel are tragic. They are trapped in their own rigidity. The High Elf is trapped by his pride, obsessing over a lost godhood he can never regain. The Nord is trapped by his honor, dying for lines on a map that change every century. The Imperial is trapped by his bureaucracy, drowning in paperwork and taxes. They are all running. They are all shouting. They are all miserable. The Khajiit watches them with the pity of an immortal observer. "You poor, hairless things," he thinks. "You have forgotten how to play." The diaspora of the Khajiit is not a tragedy. It is a testament to their adaptability. Throw a cat into a river, and he will swim. Throw him into a dungeon, and he will find the one loose stone. Throw him into the snow, and he will sell you a coat. They are the ultimate survivors. While empires rise and fall, while dynasties crumble into dust, the caravans keep moving. Creak, rumble, creak. The sound of wooden wheels on cobblestones is the heartbeat of commerce in Tamriel. They are the veins of the continent. They carry the news. They carry the spices. They carry the forbidden things that everyone wants, but no one admits to wanting. And in every city, in every shadow, there is a pair of glowing eyes watching. They see the corruption of the Jarls. They see the secrets of the guilds. They see the lovers meeting in the dark. They gather these secrets not to use them for power, that is a human game, but simply to know. To know is to be amused. There is a power in being the underdog. When no one takes you seriously, you become invisible. You can go anywhere. You can hear anything. The Khajiit outside the walls is freer than the Jarl inside the keep. The Jarl is bound by duty, by fear of assassination, by politics. The Khajiit? The Khajiit is bound only to the moons. If the trade is bad here, he packs up his tent. He moves on. The road is his home. So, the next time you see a Khajiit merchant sitting by the road, offering you wares with a velvet voice, take a look, walker. Do not look down on him. Look into his eyes. Really look. You will see the reflection of a wisdom older than your civilization. You will see the confidence of a creature that knows exactly who he is, while you are still searching for yourself. He is not smiling because he is trying to trick you. He is smiling because he sees the joke. He knows that the walls of Windhelm will fall one day. He knows that the empire will crumble. He knows that the snow will melt. But the cat? The cat will still be here, warm, fed, and watching the stars turn. And so the wheel turns. The night is ending. The great crimson eye of Masser sinks below the western dunes, and the silver slice of Secunda fades into the brightening blue of the morning. We have walked the path of the moon children. We have tasted the sugar that vibrates with the light of the gods. We have seen the darkness of the void and the blinding white of the sands behind the stars. But now, it is time to rest. In the village, the fires are burning low to embers. The storyteller's voice has dropped to a whisper. The listening ears have drooped. The tales are still. The Khajiit teaches us a final lesson. It is the lesson of the cat. Do not carry the weight of yesterday into tomorrow. Do not let the fear of the future rob you of the warmth of the present. The world is strange, yes. It is dangerous. It is full of people who want to put you in a cage or define who you are. But you have claws. You have eyes that see in the dark. And you have the secret music that they cannot hear. Curl up. Find your patch of sunlight or your pile of cushions. Let the tension drain from your muscles. Let the rigidity of your human life melt away. Be liquid. Be soft. Listen to the breathing of the world. In and out. Somewhere in the deep desert, the wind is erasing the footprints of the night. It smooths the sand, making it fresh and new for the day to come. Somewhere in the deep jungle, the birds are beginning to sing the sun into existence. You are safe here. You are part of the lattice. You are watched over by the Mother of Roses. Close your eyes now. Really close them. Let the image of the moons fade. Let the smell of the sugarcane drift away. Let the sound of the sistrum bells recede into silence. There is only the warmth. There is only the rhythm. May your road lead you to warm sands. May your eyes always see the truth. And may you find your way home through the dark to the light that waits for us all. Sleep now, walker. The moons will watch over you.